ISIS may be gaining support internationally, but many military experts say the first thing to do in the fight against the Islamic State is to arm the Kurdish military. More than a year ago, Kurdish officers on the front lines told us they need advanced weapons to fight ISIS. When we were back on the front lines recently, we found out that effort still has a long way to go. The Kurdish military secured one of its biggest victories recently by retaking the strategic town of Sinjar. Still, the overall challenge in confronting the Islamic State is daunting. The Kurdish military, known as the Peshmerga, hold a more than 600-mile line against ISIS. That includes key towns like Makmur behind me, which controls access to Erbil, the capital of Kurdistan. This is the one fighting force holding its own against ISIS.
Look, the PKK affiliate in Syria are the ones that are doing the heavy lifting there, too. From Kobani all the way west. They're the ones that are doing the effective fighting. It isn't anybody else. It isn't the guys that we trained up.
Retired U.S. Colonel Richard Naab has worked with the Kurds for nearly 25 years. He says it's in America's interest to support them.
Surely they're an ally of the U.S. that we need. They love America more than I think some Americans do. They're good people, and they're a good friend to have in your court, and they're very important for this region. I would support the Kurds. The Kurds are going to be the mainstream. They're going to be the guys that can deal with Iran, they can deal with Syria, and they can do it for us.
Despite those positives, the Kurds still haven't received the kind of heavy arms they've requested from the U.S.
It has to do with some sort of funky diplomatic legality, which is irrelevant here. These people are fighting for their lives. And in a way, they're fighting for our lives in the future. Because if they can kill this radical Islam here, so it doesn't migrate to the States, it doesn't become more popular. It's pretty popular now.
We talked with Mahmoud, a Kurdish sniper, about the lack of advanced weapons. He responded with a message for Americans.
The Americans should realize that we're fighting an Islamic Caliphate state. It's not easy. Even though we're suffering from a lack of advanced weapons, we've stood against ISIS. They should realize that with our limited military resources, we can fight them, and we will keep fighting them. It's very important for them to know that we also need their help, their military support.
He says the Kurds are standing in the gap for the free world.
You know, the Kurds proved to the whole world that they're the only force which can stand against ISIS. We're stopping them on the front line so they won't cross the border, because if they cross the border, the free world will be attacked by ISIS. We're fighting ISIS on behalf of the whole free world.
Naab says Americans need to know strength makes a big difference here.
I think they need to know that the Middle East needs a strong U.S. presence. A strong, forceful presence. Part of that is we can exhibit by supporting the Kurds, I think, our friends here. But we are weak here. And when we are weak, the whole thing comes around. Now you see the Russians coming back in Syria, you think things going not better, but worse.